Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Teresa Conroy-Roth, and you are watching Series 2 of the Lightning Leadership Series. With me is my dear friend, Heather Darring. Heather and I met a little while ago. Gosh, it's been almost a year. Heather is the Vice President of the CIO Network, Tech Point organization here in Indianapolis, and I'm delighted to have her on. So welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. It's an honor being here, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yay, me too, me too. The topic we're going to talk about today isn't necessarily an easy one and requires a layer of vulnerability, but it's imposter syndrome. Tell us about imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome is basically feeling like you don't deserve to be in the room that you're in or sitting at the table that you're at. It's a lack of confidence in your skills and abilities.
Yeah.
And it's usually not true.
You know, I've had imposter syndrome a few times during my career, and it's one of those. I think as women in leadership positions, right? It's one of those things that it's there. I think the number of times that I've sat with, maybe even in a boardroom with all men, right? And just kind of feeling, am I ready for this? Am I prepared for this? What do I need to know? Do I have the right experience? And it's sometimes it can be a challenge.
Absolutely. University College London did a study recently, and they found that if you're overconfident, so you're self-assessing your own skills and abilities as higher than what they are, you have a higher chance of being in a top job by the age of 42. And
42.
so and it's not that you are more qualified, it's just that you are overconfident in your abilities. And so what you have is people who are like, and it leans to men, it's typically men that are overconfident and women who are underconfident. So it attributes to the gender gap in leadership roles. So it's really important that we address it.
So
when you're underconfident, like you're not willing to take a chance when a role opens up,
Sure.
oh man, I'm not good enough for this role. I'm not ready for this role. And then somebody else over here though is like, I can do this. Absolutely. This is for me. And
Well,
maybe has a complete overestimation of their ability to do so.
amen. I think, it's interesting. I think women oftentimes will wait for the tap on the shoulder, right? Well, if a position opens up and they think I should be the person, I'm just going to wait for them to come to me because I need that reassurance, right? Where if you have the confidence, you're going to throw your resume out there. I think it's also interesting when you look at the way men approach job searches versus the way women approach job searches. I mean, there have been studies that have shown if a man hits 70% of the requirements that are listed on the job, he'll apply. If a woman sees 70%, she won't apply. She won't even apply if it's probably 80%, right? And there's so many missed opportunities, not only from a candidate's perspective, but also from the hiring manager perspective, as far as what they're looking for. And I think that's absolutely huge, as far as just generally, I think, how people approach confidence or no confidence. So before we jump into your tips, because I think there are 5 of them on dealing with imposter syndrome, and I do want to cover them, tell me about your zap moment. When did you first realize that you were a leader?
Well, I think I always tried to be a leader as a little kid. And the people around me, my teachers and, family, friends, and my parents even, acknowledged it, acknowledged my natural inclination to be a leader. My friends probably hated it, honestly. I might have turned into bossiness occasionally, but being chosen as captain of the different teams and given opportunities to represent the school in different ways,
Yeah.
And then like somewhere in my maybe college age 20s, I kind of just, life happened and I was just trying to survive, and the thought of being a leader just didn't dawn on me to pursue. But 5 or 6 years ago, I had a boss who reminded me, and he's just like, you have these talents and skills and abilities, and you could do more. And actually, I'm going to mentor you, and you're my succession plan.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do that. And it originally was like, this is my 5-year succession plan. And then he was like, actually, this is going to be a 3-year succession plan. So
Nice.
that's another story. But it does tie into imposter syndrome and some of my tips for later. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I think there's some people have it naturally, and then life changes, right? And you get shook up a little bit, and then you start to question until the time is right and the opportunity is there, and then you blossom, right?
yeah, and that's probably how I would describe it. Once I was in this position and had this opportunity, I was like, man, this is what I've been, of course, this is what I've been waiting for. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, it was,
Yeah. I love it. I love it. All right. So imposter syndrome, you've got some tips. I think you've
yeah.
got 5 of them. So tell us about imposter syndrome tips and what you do to kind of build yourself up again.
Yes. So even though I've known I should be a leader since I was a child, I struggle with imposter syndrome. I think as a woman, as a Black woman, um, there's a lot of pressure
Yep.
to be excellent because you're not just representing yourself, you're representing an entire gender and an entire race. So, that sometimes it's debilitating,
It's
but
overwhelming.
it's overwhelming. It is. It is.
Overwhelming.
And, it's, do I really represent the entire gender, the entire race? Um, so just combating the lies with the truth. But I have 5 tips that I go to help get myself out of it, to remind myself,
I'm so excited. I
and prepare.
genuinely am. This is good stuff.
Yeah. So the first one is be honest with yourself. And so that goes back to the overconfidence, underconfidence thing. What are your skills? What are your talents? What are you good at? What have you gone and got? Like the training that you've received.
Mhm.
Those are all important and valuable. Um, and you should recognize when you are skilled in an area. And it's not boasting or prideful to know that and own that.
Yeah.
It's yours. It
Yeah.
belongs to you. And if you struggle with that, I heard someone say that your strengths are written on your back, and they're
Hmm.
hard sometimes for you to see them yourself. And so
Hmm.
ask the people around you, because they probably can give you a really good um, assessment of what your skills are as well.
So if you had to say what your, I'm going to throw you, this is not a prepared question. If I had to
Mhm.
ask you what your superpower was, do you know what your superpower is?
I think the biggest one is I'm a problem solver.
Okay.
I'm always looking to, whenever something comes up, I'm like, okay, let's solve this problem.
Yeah.
Um, whether it's somebody coming to me like with an issue in their life, or a cabinet is overflowing and we need to store something, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then to working in information technology and literal problems coming across my desk every day. And I think that's why I do well, is
Cool.
problem solving. Mhm.
Good deal. Good deal. I actually have a superpower, and many of you, I don't think I've ever met a stranger. I think I can pretty much talk to um, many, 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 many different types of folks, and so I enjoy that.
Yeah, I believe that. I
Heather and I have been together at a couple of different networking events over the course of the last year, and it's always been fun. So,
Mhm.
number two, number two.
Number
What's number two?
2, practice and plan ahead.
Okay.
So anytime you're in any situation, if you practice beforehand. If you're like giving a presentation or a speech or whatever, you practice beforehand, you're going to increase your confidence naturally.
Yes.
If you plan your meetings ahead, you're going to naturally increase your confidence. So, and this is what we tell our kids is whenever you're learning something new, you got to practice. It's
Yeah.
repetition, it's practice, and it's not any different. That's life. You get better at something the more that you practice and the more that you prepare.
Good deal. You know, I find also too with practice, you become less anxious about the situation. The more you prepare for if it's an event, if it's a conversation, right? If it's a meeting, the more you prepare, the less anxious you'll feel because you've done the work.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Number 3.
Number 3 is keep learning and lean on others' expertise. I think one of the things that comes up with imposter syndrome is I don't know enough. I haven't had enough experiences. So I'm not ready for this opportunity or to be in this place.
Yeah.
Well, you're not done cooking. You can still learn and grow. And that was the thing with, me coming into the CIO position. There were things that I hadn't experienced. I didn't have a lot of management experience of people management.
Yeah.
But I can learn those things and I can grow in those areas. And, my mentor, he was part of the package of the succession was to include development. So you don't have to depend on your current state to be in that role. You can still learn and grow. And everybody doesn't know everything anyways. And that's why you rely on your network. And that's why you ask people who do know.
Yeah.
And you can rely on their expertise and you don't have to have it. Because,
Yep.
The internet makes us believe that we can know everything, but we're not experts in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we should go to the people who are experts and they can help you make better decisions in your role as well.
Amen. I think I learned that. Unfortunately, I think I learned it late. I learned it. I don't know if it's ever too late. I learned it, I don't know, probably 15 years ago, 16 years ago, right before I joined Axia, that everybody has a story. And if you listen, right, people will tell you their story. And I love people's stories, right, which is one of the reasons why I started the podcast. Because I learn every time somebody shares, and hoping it's a mistake or a lesson learned that they learn that I might not have to learn if I've listened and I've really taken it to heart. And so I love that one. I really, really, really do. All right. Are we on? We have 4. Are we on 4?
We're on number 4. Yes.
Woohoo! Okay. What else you got?
Stop thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
If you are just going, oh, what if I look stupid? What if I look foolish? What if people don't think I know anything? Or what if they realize that I shouldn't be here? Talk about self-sabotage. You completely rob yourself of your confidence and you're not going to be able to move forward. You're going to be stuck.
Yeah.
And also like people don't really care that much. It's that middle school mentality that we sometimes go back to, where everybody thinks that you're looking at them, but everyone's only thinking about themselves.
I had such a great middle school experience. Okay, I didn't. It was an awful 5th and 6th grade. That's another story for another day. You know who you are. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. Number 5.
Well, the inverse of number 4 is focus on your audience. Focus on the outcome that you want. Focus on how you want to connect with people and whatever value you're adding to your organization. And when you're focused outward instead of inward, then it allows that passion and excitement to fill you up. And that's contagious. And that's when you connect with people. And I'll be honest with you, like when you were like, do a podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I had imposter syndrome over this.
Did you?
And I had to deal with that. And so my hope is that someone watching this podcast get something out of these tools that are in my toolbox, and maybe they add it to their toolbox, and the next time they face imposter syndrome, they can recall, and it will help them out of it and give them the confidence to aggressively pursue their goals or do that presentation or ask for the promotion.
Yeah.
And that would be amazing.
Yay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you.
So folks can find Heather on LinkedIn.
I got one more.
Oh, you got one more?
That was still 4.
Okay, I'm so excited.
5, yes. This
I'm so excited.
Go ahead. This one I just added. Okay. So I did recently I did a facilitation course, and it was based in the Netherlands, and it was a really good experience. And one of their tips for fighting imposter syndrome was aim for, don't leave, just stay on. Don't turn this off when I say this word. Aim for mediocrity.
Oh, I hate that word.
I think it was a cultural thing, and and like a translation thing. But I was like, and I told him, I was like, I have a hard time with that word because culturally, you might as well curse me out.
Yeah.
It's basically like the F word.
It is. Why though? I mean, it's part of our American culture. Is it to be the best? Is it how we're graded? I mean, nobody really wants a C in life, right? C is kind of average. Right? Were you an average manager? That doesn't feel good. Were you an average leader? Were you an average spouse? Were you an average child? Right? Nobody really wants to be mediocre.
No, and I think the point is, aim for good. It doesn't have to be magnificent every single time, but if it's consistently good, that's actually really great.
I'll take it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, but when you set the bar so high that you can't start, or it's so intimidating that you can't move forward, or you're so stressed that you're sick, I mean, then the quality is not going to be there. But if you take all that pressure off and you just say, I'm going to do a solid, good job. It's just going to be solid.
Yeah.
It might end up being great.
It might.
But solid and dependable and reliable and consistent, those are all still very good things. And it's like cross country, when you're running. I had a very short career in cross country. But you can't sprint the whole time.
I did too.
You got to try it at least once.
Yes, you do. And I realized that I really don't run unless something is chasing me. That's probably not, running is not for me. But no, how long did you last in cross country?
It was 1 year, and I broke my foot after my softball season, so I couldn't do it the next year. And then I joined the soccer team, which we started. So
pretty much cross country right there.
Yeah, but it just, you have other goals than just running in soccer. So, awesome. But you can't, you can't maintain a 4-minute mile for 3 miles.
No. No.
It's going to kill you.
No, it will. It might. All right. Well, Heather, I'm thrilled. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being a part of this series. So many lessons learned, and I think this will be great for so many folks. So, love the tips, love the life lessons. You've got it. Whatever it is, man, you've got it. So proud to call you my friend. Absolutely. So if you're interested in learning more or want to connect with Heather, please reach out via LinkedIn. If you're seeing this on LinkedIn, like or repost. If you're seeing it on YouTube or listening on Spotify, please feel free to like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you, Heather.